Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum salam.
So I'm Malik Sumera, and I've simply collected information from various.
Switch on your video. I don't see you. Let's have an introduction.
Ma'am, I've already switched on.
Why don't I see you? I'm not able to see you there. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Malik Sumera, and I've collected some information from various religious texts which allow us to veil. So first, I want to state it's mentioned in the Rig Veda. I want to state those lines. So these are: when Brahma has made you a woman, you should lower your gaze and should not look up. You should put your feet together and you should not reveal what the garment and the veil conceals. And further, it's mentioned in the Mahavir Charitra, and that is when Purusharam comes, Rama tells his wife Sita that he is our elder, please lower your gaze and put the veil on. So the Vedic text also mentions that a girl should put veil on. And also we are having some historical books which talk about the coinage, that's especially in the Gupta age, in which the women are wearing this veils, and it's also shown on the coins of the Gupta age. We show that many Indian women who wear veils, and some even cover their faces. Then after, Christian scriptures also mention that a girl should veil her should put a veil on. And so it is in the Matthew, you have heard that it was said, do not commit adultery.
Sumaira?
Yes, ma'am.
Please carry on.
And then our noble Quran in Surah Al-Ahzab, it's also mentioned, and I want to state what's mentioned there. And tell the believing women to lower their gaze from looking at forbidden things and protect their private parts from illegal sexual acts, and not show off their adornments except only what is apparent, like palms and hands, and uh, and to draw their veil all over, and not to reveal their adornment except to their husbands, their fathers, their brothers, sisters, and small children. So every religion compels a woman to cover her body and to put the veil on. So this is all from me.
Okay, Sumaira. Ibadat, would you like to join in? Would you like to say something? Ibadat Jan? Ibadat, do I have you?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to say something?
No, ma'am.
Okay. There's another guest user. I don't have the name of this person who this guest user is. Please put up your names when you are joining in. Okay, Arshad, I think you go on. Go ahead with your part.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Hello.
Gigi, I am hearing you. I'm able to hear you. Go ahead.
As we know, as rightly reiterated by Malik Sumera, that this, while it has been directed on women that they should, I won't say that they should lower their gaze. I will not go to that extent, although it is already given in the religious context. I slightly have my different opinion on that, but I will simply confine myself to the constitutional aspect of it, and that too.
Yes, please. Let's not make it a morality issue of morality. What we should be doing and what we should not be doing. Whether we should be putting up our wheel or we should not be putting up our wheel. Let's look at it in the social and the legal perspective, not in the moral perspective. Because
Yes.
morality for me, for others may differ. We'll not go into that aspect. We'll just go whether it will have social repercussions, what kind of social repercussions, and legal aspect of it. Please deal with that.
Legally, the if if we go through Article 19 and Article 25, or read with Article 26, where it is elaborately dealt the liberties, our fundamental rights are being codified. Article 90 simply says that we have the right to freedom of speech and expression. As yesterday, I was just scrolling through some stuff by a Supreme Court lawyer. Even he is covering. He's saying that this falls under Article 19, where within the domain of freedom of speech and expression, how you express yourself, he has taken it to that extent. But as we say that Constitution has already ensured and made sure that we enjoy our rights and we live the way we want. As a earlier Article 25, it says, I would, for you, I think I have the liberty of taking 3 minutes,
Yes,
so that
please go
we
ahead.
can
Go ahead. You have all
I
your
will,
time. Go ahead.
yes. Article 19 guarantees the six rights, and the primary is first being right to freedom of speech and expression. As I said, whether to the way the jurists, the way the later the Supreme Court has interpreted the provisions of Constitution is unlimited. So we definitely will fall under that, and specifically Article 25, where it is being specifically dealt that we have certain freedoms, we have that is just I had just had a call. Sorry. Freedom of conscience, right to profess, declare one's religion, beliefs and faiths. Let me put some emphasis on it. Right to profess, declaration of one's religious beliefs and faiths. So, if it is not expressly mentioned whether hijab is the part of your religion or not, but if you, and plus Article 26 already categorizes that it is even in, as given in SR Boma and other cases, that it is not mandatory that you have to be from a particular sect, or you, because the word religion is nowhere defined in the Constitution. It is faith, it is belief that is being so. All of a sudden, tomorrow, no new religion may come up, so that is the reason it has been kept open ended. So the point is that if I believe, if I am of the belief that by adorning this hijab I'm I'm satisfying my conscience, my faith, my belief, no other power on the world can take that right away from me. So I am completely protected under Article 25, irrespective whether hijab is mentioned or not mentioned in Islam. As Javed sir, although it was very enlightening to listen Javed sahab, once we uh, once we confine it to the domain of Islam, so things may become problematic with the passage of time. If not now, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years down the line, the Constitution may be interpreted in such a way where our faith, our belief of understanding things will be ousted, will not be considered at that time. So this is the reason we should not get too much into the thing that our religion specifically mentions this, because they were very visionary people. They have envisioned this thing, that this thing may happen, so we are already protected and covered, provided ultimately the Supreme Court and the High Court, that they have to upheld the actual essence of the Constitution, which I'm sure they will. And to that extent, we have a couple of judgments, as earlier quoted by Javed Saab, that Kerala High Court, because this is not for the first time that the issue of hijab has come up. It has been there from very long, from even from the day of independence, 1947. Things were there, whether to whether to allow, because we were declared a secular country, whether to allow this, as some of the commentators call it, baggage of the medieval time to continue. To that, Kerala High Court specifically has addressed this issue. Supreme Court at times has addressed this issue. Plus, we have some statutes, we have the law where we say the Parda Nashin lady, and she can go, and that she won't be asked to unveil herself, or there is a provision where the magistrate or judge can visit his place and get his consent or his opinion about a thing, if she has to execute an illegal document. So this thing, Constitution, the lawmakers have, they had already these things in their mind, so they have beautifully addressed this thing. But here the question isn't whether we are being protected by the Constitution or not. to the point, since we were carrying this, there was no interference from the state. It's only because that the constitution has protected and guaranteed us certain rights. But now here there are twofold assaults on a particular sect. I would say, I won't say a lady, is a lady of a particular sect that is facing the problem right now. And I would take 2 minutes to explain that how, why it is more problematic this time than earlier. First, till now there was no assault from the state, but a circular passed by the Karnataka government directing to follow or to unfollow certain things is problematic. That is violative of Article 25 and our fundamental rights. High Court is there to uphold it or to declare it ultra virus, to declare it illegal. That is High Court, that is the judiciary to ascertain. But if judiciary as of now has again bleed our hopes for simply injecting the students from professing their belief, our belief has been suspended. As I said, what has been suspended? If Hindus are being prohibited for the time being to carry the saffron gamchas, that's fine, because that is not a part of their religion. Plus, they were not coming to college or schools with that gamchas, that saffron gamchas or whatever. Had a Muslim boy come with that scarf that the Indian subcontinent Muslims carry on their shoulders, and Karnataka High Court had prohibited them from carrying that, it won't have been problematic, would have been acceptable, for the simple fact that that is not a part of our religion. That is more to do with the custom and culture and the local climate and geography. Gamcha is akin to that. But prohibiting our women, our girl children to carry hijab is problematic, because this is the fundamental right in continuity. This is something that was in vogue from centuries, and ultimately stopping that is violative of our fundamental right. I may go into contempt if I delve too much into it, but being legal, being the students, we are within our rights to comment that absolutely this is unacceptable and not uh, expected from the judiciary. That is the one problem aspect of it, where state and then the other wing of the state, that the judiciary, has disappointed us, but I hope it will be rectified. But the more broader perspective of it, the other aspect that is more problematic, that is, if state has imposed or passed a circular, whether right or wrong, it is the court to decide it is legality. Fine. But what compelled that saffron gamcha carrying guys to come on streets to impose their belief? That is more problematic. That is the reflective of the happenings of the previous 5, 8, or 1 decade. That reflects the impatience, that reflects the desperations a particular section of the society is facing and trying to vent it out against a particular community. That is more problematic. It was a legal matter to be dealt by the courts, not by the goons and hooligans. They coming on streets and imposing their belief. It is simply that it reflects that if Karnataka government has passed any order, passed in a circular, they had passed it keeping in view the comfort of a particular section, that is Hindu. They passed it to satisfy them. And it is only because they felt that if we have passed an order and they are not obliging it, so let's come out on the streets, which they did. That's more problematic. Here, as I say, I see it, whether a woman should carry it or not carry it, I completely leave it to her discretion. Personally, I am of the belief that if our here at our there are problems going on in our own backyard. The 12th topper lady, Arshi Zuhur, she is being trolled on Facebook for simply not covering her head, which is very unfortunate. She is within her limit, within her rights to carry the scarf or not. That is one aspect of it. The other problem is that if we dwell too much in the religion, whether religion, there are certain limitations which are unfounded even in religion. So I won't dwell into the religious part of it, but I will confine it to the legal aspect. If Indian constitution has guaranteed us certain rights, not only we, be it to Hindus or be it to Jains or Sikhs or Christians, let them propagate it. There should be no hindrance from a Muslim objecting to a Hindu to live in a particular way or not to live in a particular way. I am not within my rights being Muslim. They are, if they are being guaranteed, they are being provided any liberty by the constitution, I being a Muslim should respect that, as I should respect the Sikh who is carrying a kirpan. Article 25 explicitly mentions that, it explicitly has mentioned that Sikhs, or but through the later legal interpretation, that Sikhs are within their rights to carry the kirpan. So if the question, it is specifically mentioned, so nobody is going to question them for carrying the kirpan, that sword type of a thing they carry, or for having that uh, turban. That may become the point of contention with the passage of time, but to the extent of kirpan, law has already been settled, and that they are within their rights to carry that. But the duty is on the other sects as well, when the question is about my liberties, as a Muslim. So the duty, it is mutual. We have to respect each other's sentiments, emotions within the confines of constitution, because if anything is illegal, immoral, against the courts, contemptuous to the court, definitely law is already there. There are certain limitations, and if we don't fall under those limitations, then definitely there should be no hindrance from any quarter on our liberties.
Now, do you find that this is contemptuous? Do you
So,
find that wearing of hijab, carrying of hijab to educational institutions is contemptuous?
absolutely not.
So
Absolutely not.
where do you see, as a legal student of law, as a lawyer, where do you see the illegality? Do you see there a violation of constitution or the statute? Is there any such violation
By carrying the hijab,
by carrying the hijab?
state doesn't let any illegality to perpetuate for long. Had that been an illegality, it would have been nipped at the bud in 1947. Since there is some inference that we can draw from carrying the scarf, since it was within our constitutional rights to carry it, that's the reason it was allowed. That's the reason they had to pass a specific circular whereby it was directed not to carry it henceforth. Even the legality of that circular is being questioned in the High Court by the judiciary. So presumption is always in favor of something that is in vague, that is prevailing. Presumption is always in favor of that. Like we say, the presumption is always in favor of the legislation unless declared illegal by the court. Till that point, any legislation is valid. Similarly, here, as upheld by Kerala High Court in two of its judgments. One, as I said, that it is Nada Rahim judgment. There is Anna bint Basir something, another judgment. But it has been specifically directed to the state. State here means CBSE, Central Board of School Education, because it falls within the definition of state. State has been directed not to compel Muslim girls to come in a particular attire, to come in a particular dress, or to direct them not to wear hijab. It is only because it was legal, it was within their rights to come in a particular dress, in a particular way. There's a reason Kerala High Court has already upheld it, and there are other judgments by the Supreme High Court, Supreme Court of India, where these basic fundamental rights of Muslim girls have been upheld. Not only Muslim girls, as I said, the kirpan carried by the Sikh brothers or the Sikh community, even that is being protected by the Supreme Court of India. Presumption is in our favor, law is in our favor, and if we ultimately, the constitution came into force to uphold our liberties, our choices. We didn't got independence so that a particular narrative, particular opinion will be enthrust, will be imposed on us. We are within our to live the way we want, but my right ends where the nose of other person begin. I can wave my hand to any extent unless it touches the nose of some other person, because from that point his liberties, his rights start. So the limitations are already in place there in the Constitution. Every article from 12 to 35, which covers the fundamental rights, chapter 3rd, which covers the fundamental rights of the citizens, every article comes with exceptions, that with limitations. Once we don't fall in those limitations, we are within our rights. Nobody can curtail those. And here, state is being very aggressive. Not only state, those hooligans, those vagabonds, those bigots, those later try to impose their opinion, which is being substantiated and ascertained by through or expressed through that circular. They want to get that imposed either through police or through judiciary, or they will themselves come on street and get it imposed. That is something very problematic, and that reflects the ulterior motive behind the circular.
So you see, there is a propagandist scheme behind
Absolutely.
all this.
Nothing goes without a reason in the present dispensation in our country. Every move from any government quarter, it is definitely laced with some ulterior motives. And liberating women is something different. Imposing your opinion, you cannot. Has anybody ever
They were
has
taking off their scarf. They are not liberating, because those without the scarf, they face the same fury. As we have seen over the past years, in many instances, those who wear scantily covered, those who wear wearing jeans or half t-shirts, they were equally aggressive against those females also. Now,
what
scarf, as you said, as you have pointed out in your debate, that it's a propagandist view. It's only directed against one particular community, and they are being made the scapegoats for their elections.
I would slightly modify my statement to the
Okay.
extent, because since this time the axe is falling on my foot, I'm giving more emphasis on the point that a particular sect, Muslims are being targeted. But take the another aspect of it. The targets may change. This time it's Muslim. On Valentine's Day, that is tomorrow, it would be those couples expressing their way of living, their beliefs in different way. They will be assaulted by particular group of people. That's point two. And we will be one of, in Kerala, there is a Muslim sect who comes on street and agitates against it, calling it immoral and all that, blah, blah, blah. Christians are being targeted while they celebrate that on 25th of December, their Christmas Day, targeted by a particular section. It is only when the beliefs of a particular section are hit, they come on street as a target. Say in present case, we are being targeted by Bajrang Dal or whatever section that is. I don't know the exact name of their organization. The same organization will come out tomorrow against those people celebrating Valentine. The same chunk of people come out on Christmas and celebrate Christians, because anything that goes against their narrative, their thoughts, their beliefs, they are against that. And not only that, in other countries, this is actually the problem is that as that this left wing, the projection is it is global right now. If we
No,
dig it,
Islamophobia is global, and wearing of veil, covering of the from head to the toe, that's always been very problematic. Even in the international scenario, when we see checking off a person on an airport, some have misused the veil, the burqa. That's another problem. That's a global phenomenon, Islamophobia. But in India, we see this is of recent. India was a secular nation where all the communities, Sikhs, Hindus, Christians, Jews, they had coexisted. Though I would say that there was an underlying communalism always there. But this was the fringe element. Now this fringe element has become the mainstream. and they are the ones who are dominant. They are trying to impose their point of view on the rest of the communities,
Absolutely.
those who are living in India. So
Absolutely.
the underlying motive behind all this is to have a uniform civil code. So kindly delve on that. Let's talk a bit on that uniform civil
You
code,
have
because
actually that is
Shahbanu case was a watershed moment. Though I would have reservations with regard to some aspects, but many good things came out of it. Arshad, we are not
I
able to see you. We are
yes.
not. Please adjust your camera. Please adjust your camera. We are not. Now it's okay. A little
Okay.
bit more. Please adjust.
Is it fine now?
Many good things. Still a little bit towards the left. Now, please
Actually,
adjust.
I'm not at my home today, so sorry for the inconvenience. I had to adjust things.
Adjust your camera. That's okay. That's okay. Okay.
Is it fine,
So,
ma'am?
okay.
Audible?
So, Shahbanu case, that definitely was a watershed moment. But there was a lot of agitation after Shahbanu because the orthodox, the fundamental Muslim view had been challenged in that, because the matter was can a divorced woman claim maintenance, and the court ruled in her favor, even though it was a very, very paltry sum for which she had to expend most of her lifetime after that, and use thousands in legal fee. But from there, we saw that the courts also came up with this assertion that there has to be a uniform civil code. The Muslim women, Hindu women, all the women should have a uniform law that will be applicable. Now, this is not just with regard to the women. We have uniform civil code in all other aspects also, which this government has been trying to impose. So, is that possible? Where does this uniform, the beginning, from that beginning, uniform of civil, imposing uniform civil code, is it possible to have a uniform civil code? So, please delve on that.
Yes, yes. Uniform civil
Before that,
code in
please
its
adjust your camera. Before that, please, अब ठीक है. नहीं, अब ठीक नहीं, अब ठीक है.
we won't hopefully we won't be facing this problem next time we meet. I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
It's okay, but अभी ठीक है.
Uniform civil code in itself is very controversial and very big topic to dwell right now. But the cursory view I would definitely would like to share, because earlier I couldn't connect while you introduced Mr. Javed, and I couldn't connect how 44 is connected with 25 right now. But as you beautifully explained it, that ultimately it boils down, the 44 carries certain reminiscence where the rights of women come in, as Shabano case you touched. Whether two things are there, since we are projecting this thing, we are the reason we are discussing this thing, because apparently it seems that Article 44 Uniform Civil Code goes against Muslims.
It does not go just against the Muslims. It goes
I'm coming to that point.
It goes against the Christians also. Christians have a different.
I'm coming to that point. Not,
their own personal law, but they are being governed by the Hindu law.
I'm
The Sikhs
coming to
are
that
being
point.
governed by the Hindu law. Muslim
I'm coming
personal law is completely different. We are being governed. We are governed by Sharia. So
I'm coming to that point.
Imposing a uniform civil code thereby imposes homogeneity.
I'm coming to that point.
Beliefs, which is impossible.
I'm coming to that point. I'm coming to that point.
Elaborate, please. Now your turn. Please elaborate.
Yes, I'm coming. There are strong opposition to uniform civil code, not only from Muslims and some sect of Christians, because they are the more dominated section. They never able to voice their concerns the way somehow we Muslims manage to do, because of we are around 15% of the total population of the India. There are strong opposition to uniform civil code by the Orthodox Hindu section itself. That's one point. So the opposition is not by we Muslims. I had a book, I will share that with you, which a particular section, Sanatan Dharma, particular, not how they strongly opposed this Uniform Civil Code. Whether your question was, is it possible that Uniform Civil Code can be implemented in the present situation? Since there's a thumping majority by which Modi government invaded the parliament. So having such huge number of members in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, whether is it possible for them to pass it? Definitely they will pass it. If they wish to pass it, nobody on earth can stop them, because the opinion of Supreme Court is already in public domain. They have time and again expressed its view that Uniform Civil Code be implemented. So whenever Parliament decides to implement Uniform Civil Code and matter is taken by the people like you and me to Supreme Court will uphold the legislation. So that's one aspect of it. I would, since as I said, this is a uh, very vast topic and very controversial topic. There are different facets associated with this. So I would take 3 minutes to my little knowledge to my little I would like to share with you that if ever the question number one is present. Question number, I think my finger is also visible now, right? I have been, I have been, I have been waving my hands all through, but I could not see it. Now I understood that the problem is I had with the adjustment of my mobile.
It's okay. Go ahead.
If present dispensation wish to pass the Uniform Civil Code, impose a uniform law, nobody on earth can stop them, and they will definitely get it passed the way what they did to Article 370. They will definitely. Hello?
Yes, I'm able to hear you. I'm able to hear you.
But I'm not able to see anybody. Yes.
Yes. I'm very much here.
If they wish to pass it, definitely they will pass it. That is one answer to question number one. Now, another question that I pose to myself is, will Supreme Court come to rescue of those people who will challenge that legislation? To my little understanding, Supreme Court will not, because Supreme Court has already.
Let's not make those presumptions. Let's not make those assumptions. Matters are sub judice. We can't speak on that. Let's just deal with this
aspect. Ma'am, since you have brought in Shahabano case, you have brought in, yes. So it is very important. It is very.
Let's discuss whether uniform civil code is possible in a diverse society like India. Let's discuss that.
It is not. It definitely is not. Then there are many.
The repercussions, if we have, let's discuss that.
Definitely there would be repercussions. Say there are inheritance laws that will be touched with. There are adoption laws that will get disturbed. That is, there are succession laws that will get disrupted. There are family laws, the way we pronounce talaq, although triple talaq wasn't, to me, it was controversial topic to touch, because, but that is something that still was manageable and digestible.
That's good, because the court, even though it should have come from within the Muslim community, we should have been the ones who should have come up against the triple talaq. But it's nowhere mentioned in Quran Sharif that you have to have a triple talaq.
Yes, in one go.
Talaq is there. Let's not go into the religious aspect. Let's not go into the religious.
That's what I'm telling. That's what I'm telling, that if triple talaq is being banned by the Supreme Court, there are other reasons for them. There were other reasons for the Supreme Court to justify its rationale, to justify its conclusion. There was, because it was not explicitly given in Quran to pronounce the talaq in one go. That was it. But when it comes to other aspects of family life, that is, say, will tomorrow, since as I said, the topic isn't as simple as we presume it to be. Say, earlier I used to, I'm a constitutionalist, the one who believes on the Constitution, and I still believe that. But from the past couple of years, my opinion has evolved, whether for good or bad. I will not delve into that. But Constitution is amendable, and present dispensation or any dispensation for the matter can amend at any time. So, and if the amendment goes against the grains of the morality, or I won't, or the what is generally being accepted by the society, or what is illegal on its face, will I still be the constitutionalist and believe the constitution is right? Answer is no. This is the point where I have evolved. So what if I am if I stick to my beliefs, that is, I'm the firm believer of liberty, and whenever liberty, respecting the emotions and expressions and thoughts of a particular section, whenever that would be respected by constitution, I would go by that. But here, if uniform civil code is passed and present dispensation passes certain provisions regarding our marriage, say it fixes meher as of now is a discretion. What if after uniform civil code, they, because everything will be within their domain, they would be the ultimate people to decide things? What would happen? Our
Definitely,
adoption,
you cannot dictate such terms
they can.
which are
Once UCC
which are
comes in,
personal, which are matters of personal law. So, uniform civil code extending to the personal law will definitely have repercussions, and people will all come on the streets because different people have different views on that. And if we go by Muslim personal law is also the Shia sect and the Sunni sect. So we'll have the differences between fiqh, the jurisprudence there. And it's not, I would not suggest that it would be very healthy for a society to coexist if we were to have a uniform civil code. And imposing uniformity means imposing homogeneity, which is in a country like India not possible. Having one language throughout India, that's also a part of it. That's not possible. We speak Kashmiri, maybe we don't speak so much Kashmiri as much as the Tamilians, as much as the South Indians speak their own, the South Indian language, the Malayali. So again, they have already been up against this, that don't impose language on us, don't impose Hindi on us, and their attire is completely different. They come even Chidambaram sir, he comes in his traditional attire to the even to the parliament. So we are definitely going to have those problems coming up if we have a uniform civil code. But somewhere all along these years that we have seen since this dispensation has come to power, that the main motive behind what they are doing is either elections or having a uniform civil code. And by the having a uniform civil code, they are definitely going to dominate all the communities in India. If you would like to say something on that, we'll conclude on this point.
I concur. I absolutely agree with what you said. Under the garb of this UCC, it would be actually the imposition of a particular ideology on the rest of this section of the society, because we don't have the equal bargaining power. Sikhs, although they are very expressive and very assertive about their rights, but they too fall, if we read,
In the minorities. They are
they
also
fall,
minorities.
they are
They are also
definitely they,
minorities, so they too don't have that uh, opinionated view. Even if they are opinionated, they cannot have that view that
say
majority has. They cannot
ultimate in,
impose it.
in democracy, what matters is the electoral strength you have. How many people you are able to send to the parliament, that is ultimately what matters. We have the 80%, 80 crore non-Hindus. Will it be ever possible to have the present strength the BJP is having for Muslims? Absolutely not. We will never be able to have such number of people in the parliament. So whenever UCC is being implemented, if the government of the time tries to impose its ideology on the rest of the population, nobody will stop them. So definitely, first, the imposition of UCC is problematic, and it is a broader perspective, and it becomes more problematic if it is being imposed in the present environment and in the present dispensation, because we have.
This has definitely generated a lot of fear among the minority communities, that how they are going to face We even have reports and experts telling us that this is just the beginning of a very largest
Yes.
genocide of the minorities. This is persecution of the minorities per se. So if anybody would like to ask any questions so that we could conclude, anyone? I think, Arshad, we will conclude this session. It was very enlightening and we had a very fiery debate. Today, I hope to have this kind of debates in future also. And since this topic is so relevant to us from the legal perspective and being so connected with the society, part and parcel of it, in the group also, we'll have further such discussions. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Arshad. Thank you for your
Thank you.
perspective. Thank
Thank
you, all the participants. Thanks, everyone. Allah Hafiz.